All right, y'all. Who here has seen Luca? Anybody? Raise your hand. Leave a comment. Like the video. Do something. Notify me if you've seen Luca. Great. Everybody in the world has seen Luca. Now, who obsessively checks Instagram and notices new art trends? Everyone? Everyone? Great! In that case, you guys have probably all seen the new Tune Me Luca challenge that's going around. If you haven't, because you live under even more of a rock than I do, allow me to summarize for you. You take a picture of your face, or at least normally you take a picture of your face when you do a Tune Me challenge, but then you attempt to do it specifically in the Luca art style, and more specifically, you make half of yourself the human half and half of yourself the sea monster half. Now, I have seen some Instagram artists that are definitely not doing it in the Luca art style, but, you know, I was gonna do the Luca art style. So, the first challenge that I ran into was actually the face shape. Most of the characters in Luca just have this big rounded jaw, but that doesn't look anything like me because I have a very pointy chin. So I played around with that some until I came up with a shape that I liked. And I think it worked out okay. I did check several references to make sure that at least somewhere among the townspeople there were individuals that were not just round-jawed, but had some longer faces. And there were, so we're doing fine. The second thing is, I noted when I was checking all of my reference materials that Luca is done in what I would consider to be a lineless style. I guess technically, I think things probably are lined because either it's lined with the shadow color or it's lined with the highlight color. Like everything has some sort of edging to it, but it's not at all the same as like working with a different colored line art. I mean, obviously, the mouths and the eyes had some lining done to them, but for the most part, it's a lineless style, and that's not what I'm used to. So, I was really, I don't know. I had to really focus and really pay attention, and in the process, I felt like I learned a lot. It's kind of funny to take such a cartoony style and be like, oh, I really learned a great deal about art with this, but that's the reality of doing art, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be something complicated in order to learn a lot from it. I don't know, you guys have probably seen AC/DC Art Attack on here, and I love his drawing a character in 10 different styles videos because I think that really displays that there's a lot to some of these art styles that are really, really famous and well known and very simplistic at their core, but there's stuff to them, like The Simpsons or, I don't know, I'm babbling now. So one of the things that I found interesting about doing studies of all of the screenshots when I was trying to get this style down was that it was a lot of fun for me, and I really, really enjoyed noting all the distinct little things that made it this style. Like the eyes kind of look like ball socket joints, they look like globes set in a socket joint. And the way that on the human side they have a round pupil, and on the aquatic side they have a vertical pupil, and they have a yellow cornea, not a white cornea, but the color of the iris is the same on both sides. So they have the same color eye, but different colored eyes. It's great. They just match up so nicely. You know what? I hope this doesn't get me in trouble in terms of censorship, but I'm just gonna pop up 2 seconds of a shot of Luca as a fish and a boy, in this style with the split screen. And, if you want to take a second to look at it to sort of compare and see how I'm doing, then pause the video or whatever so you can take a look at it. Okay, 3, 2, 1, boom, that's all you get. Don't hate me, censorship people. Okay, so I really enjoyed this. I had so much fun doing it. I loved sort of everything about the process. Number one, because I was studying how they did the animation so closely, and because I was trying really hard to go for a lineless style. Right now, you can still see my sketch layer because it was on the screen to help guide me while I was doing shading and stuff. But when all is said and done, I do remove the sketch layer out. And because I was working so hard at that, I feel like this may actually be one of the better jobs of shading that I've done. It's not super realistic or anything. It's just, I really went for it. I really went for using the shading to provide contour to the face. And I felt like that was probably more successful than any time that I've ever relied on line work to give contouring, because the line work was there to show the shape. So if I messed up the shading, it didn't matter. But now, because I didn't have line work when all was said and done, the shading really mattered, so I paid extra close attention to it. And I guess one of the things I've learned is that if I'm gonna, do it this way, I maybe need to consider slowing down and spending more time on my shading and thinking about it a lot more, because then the line work will be a lot less critical, because the shading will be doing the heavy lifting of giving the face shape. I don't know. Here's hoping. I might give it a try. Keep your fingers crossed for me. The other really fun thing about this was doing what was essentially the same drawing. I mean, there are some shape differences, but stylistically speaking, they were the same. And having it be two completely different color palettes, because I really enjoy working in fantasy skin tones because I relax a little bit. I'm not quite as uptight about shadows and highlights and things like that, because I'm not as concerned that it's not going to look realistic, because obviously it's not going to look realistic anyway. And so in the end, it was nice having that comparison. And the funny thing is that actually I think I did a better job on the human side initially than I did on the sea monster side. And I thought that was really, really interesting, because historically in the past, I will do much better with fantasy skin tones because, like I said, I'm not concerned about it. But after I get done messing around with the eyes and shading them, you're going to see I actually pulled it back out and looked at it as a whole and realized that I had really done my job on the human side. Applying multiple tones and making sure everything was sort of rounded looking, but that I had not done as good a job on the sea monster side, and I had to go back in and give it that shape and whatever. Also, I love shading eyeballs in cartoons. Like, it's so great. Look at that. All of a sudden, they just look rounded. It's amazing. Yay, eyeballs. I've just taken a moment to reflect on some of the things that I said, and I feel like I ought to, give the disclaimer that I'm not drunk or high or anything right now. It's just been a really long week, and I don't have the energy to be staid and sober. I'm just gonna babble about doing this drawing, and that's where I'm at right now. So this necklace is actually mine. I wear it every single day, and it was a delight to reproduce it, and I was pretty pleased with how it turned out, even though it's not super detailed, but it does a good job of effectively portraying the necklace when it's zoomed out. Oh, here we go with the face shading that I told you I was going to get to eventually and hadn't gotten to yet. Do you see how I came back in and I did the cheeks and whatever, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this figure actually looks more like a three-dimensional character now. Go figure. Anyway, yay me that I didn't fail to notice that. Then I just threw in the background. I love the simple clouds. I love the different tones of blue. I was originally going to draw some of those stupid little fish in the background because they were adorable and I loved them, but I decided in the end to go ahead and stick with the simpler, this is the sky with clouds, this is the water with waves. Don't muck about and create extra detail in the background that will detract from the central figure, because composition matters. Right, kids? Right. Anyway, that's about it. Definitely go do the evil trifecta. So let's see. Let's give some parameters. Like if you like the Toon Me Luca challenge. Subscribe if you think my babbling is entertaining and you'd like to hear more of it, because I don't foresee myself getting energy anytime soon. And leave a comment if you have a specific sea monster that you think you are. Real or imaginary. Doesn't matter. Whatever floats your boat. Bye!